Hello, sunshine. Welcome back to the Gold Biz Podcast with me, your host, Rachel Traxler. We have a little bit of a different episode today. Instead of doing like really hard hitting educational episodes, which if you're here for, I love, you're welcome. I love doing those episodes. But we're going to switch it up and do something a little fun today. We're just going to have like a conversational, the trend of we listen and we don't judge photography edition episode today. So hopefully this is just going to be a fun little change of pace. We can do something fun. I hope that you like this episode. So what I did was I went to my Instagram stories. I asked you guys to submit your we listen and we don't judge submissions. I did read a couple, but I tried to not read any more because I wanted to read them here for the podcast episode. But the couple that I did read, I was like dying laughing. These are going to be so funny. Just so that we can read them, know that you're not alone, know that it's probably, if you did it, someone else may have too. So we're just going to dive in. But before we do, I want you to go and leave a 5-star review on the Gold Biz Podcast so that I can know you're loving it. And then I can also let the podcast be pushed out to other like-minded photographers like yourself. So go leave a 5-star review on the Gold Biz Podcast. But let's dive in. We got some fun ones. So I'm just going to pull them up from my stories because I just asked not long ago. Realistically, I probably should have let this story run a little bit longer because I guarantee I'm going to get some funnier submissions after I record this, but maybe after then I'll just post them on my stories. But let's pull up what we got for submissions here. No order. I'm just going to kind of like pull them. So number one, I'm just going to go down. There's a lot. So we got a lot to cover here. I'm not filtering through these and I haven't read them. So number one, promoting mini sessions, but giving more than 100 photos back. Sir, that's not a mini. Okay, so you're saying that when you do mini sessions, you do not give more than 100 photos because then that wouldn't be considered a mini session. I think that's what you're saying. If so, guilty. I definitely say like, oh, I'll do 15-minute mini sessions and I will deliver 50 images. And I've been known to deliver like 150 photos. And I know that that's not a good thing because I think the more photos that you have, the more it waters down the entire gallery and makes it not seem as elevated or higher end. So actually, like I totally advise against that. I just know that I personally, being truthful, I definitely have. So, but I get what you're saying because you want, especially if it's going to be a mini session and just your sessions in general and like your services in general, you probably want to seem like higher level, higher end, more premium, dare I say luxury. If you are a luxury photographer, you probably aren't offering mini sessions, but either way, you want them to seem more elevated. So I actually agree with this, even though it's not what I have done in the past. I agree with it. Okay. Number two, we listen and we don't judge. If a client messages me before contracted delivery date, I won't book them ever again. Oh, okay. This is a hot take. So basically, if someone comes to you and says, "Hey, when are my photos going to be done?" and it's only been 3 weeks or maybe 5 weeks and your contract says 8, then you'll just never work with them again. That is interesting, an interesting take. Hey, listen, we don't judge. We listen and we do not judge. I'm not judging you. I'm not going to judge anybody for any of these. I'm hoping to get a good laugh out of some. But also, I just challenge you, is some of that on you that they are reaching out? Why are they reaching out? They clearly do not have like a full picture of when they can intend to get their photos back and what this post gallery production timeline and experience looks like. Listen, I'm not trying to turn this into like a business photography advice episode, although I might give a little bit of unsolicited to some of these, but that's just something to think about. I don't judge you. Maybe other people do that too. I don't know. I agree it can be overwhelming when clients or people come to you asking for something when it's still within the contracted time or you haven't gotten it back to them. It can be overwhelming. So don't let the overwhelm force you into thinking that you'll just never work with them again. I don't know. That's just my thought. But hey, we listen and we don't judge. Number 3, I have so many photographers blocked from seeing my page. Wait, That's kind of hilarious. I wonder, like, why? What are your reasonings? Why don't you want them seeing your page? I'm so curious now. I want the tea. Not that I'm like, I don't know, but I'm kind of interested just only because it's not something that I do. I don't think I really have, I do have maybe a couple people blocked, maybe, but that would be for like personal random acquaintance, not even acquaintance, like very personal reasons. I don't even know. I'd have to look at my block list. I actually don't even know. That is hilarious, and I kind of want the tea. We might have to elaborate on that one. You know who you are. Um, we listen and we don't judge. Number 4, I forget to format my card majority of the time. Also, what? That makes me like gives me I'm not judging, but that gives me the heebie-jeebies. What if something happens or just like I don't know. I don't know if that's just a habit that I got in of just formatting my card before every single shoot, before I do anything. I format my card every single time. It gives me like anxiety every time I do because I'm like, do I have these double backed up? Did I deliver? Do I have these in multiple places? The worst is being forced to having to format a memory card before a gallery is delivered. Because even though you know it's on 2 memory cards, it's on 2 hard drives, whatever it is, I know I haven't even told you guys this story yet, but I actually had a hard drive crash on me this fall, and it crashed before I had 4 weddings that weekend between myself and my team, and it crashed before I uploaded and like backed up all of those weddings onto my second backup external hard drive. I know. I know. Back up to multiple hard drives. But here's the thing, I had the memory cards, I had them on my external hard drive, I had all the sneak peeks edited and sent out, and the galleries sent to my editor. The problem was I couldn't access it because the original file location was gone, and I had just a ton of other stuff on that hard drive that I didn't back up, like personal stuff, family vlogging type of thing. Like, I like to like do little family vlogs of our little adventures and stuff. And I lost all of that and I didn't want to. So I had to pay to get it recovered. Y'all, it is a hefty fee. You don't want a crash hard drive. Just listen to me on that. So back up multiple ones. I don't know. More of the story, back it up, have it in several places, all the things, format your cards, format your memory cards, just in case you don't want those going corrupt. But hey, we listen and we don't judge. Number 4, I don't let my following number go over 1,000. Okay, this kind of goes along with one of the ones I did read and post on my stories, which I have to scroll and find. I think it was something about if my posts don't get over 100 likes, I delete it. Okay, y'all, we need to talk about this because social media, okay, if you know me and my education, what I like to talk about and teach on is that you should be running a business that is not reliant on social media. Therefore, you should not be giving into the social media vanity metrics. Like, don't think too much of it. Like, if you were in a room of 100 people and they all were like, hey, we love your sweater, and 100 people came up to you and told you that they loved your sweater, you would be so flattered. Like, that's a lot of people. And so 100 people liking your post, that's a lot. And also, you have to remember the post itself isn't just you. It's like a reflection and like story for your clients. So it's not just on you. Don't take it personal on you. And it's also social media. Like, just don't get too caught up in it. Don't care about it. But also, circling back to the I don't let my follower count go over 1,000. That's also hilarious. I wonder why. Like, what makes you think, like, if I were to go to your page and be like, oh, she follows 105 people, crazy. Like, I would never think that. I'm curious and I also know who you are, so I might ask you your reasoning behind that. And I might have to report back to you guys because that's interesting. And I wonder, does anyone else do that? I don't know. I don't even know how many people I follow. I'd have to look. But I do go through sometimes and unfollow people that are just, or accounts that are irrelevant, or I just want to clean up for my own mental capacity and mental sanity. Like, I don't want too much noise. And that also goes into factor of why I don't not follow, but I try not to pay too much attention to like other noise of people doing similar things than I do because it gets me overwhelmed. And I also want to just stay in my own lane. So I wonder if that's why too. So I can relate to that, but I don't have like a set number in mind that I don't go over. That's funny. We listen and we don't judge. I walked in on a bride and groom having intercourse before reception entrance. What? Hey, it's their wedding day. Good for them. Honestly, good for them. What a way to start a marriage. That is a solid core wedding day memory. Honestly, good for them. That is hilarious, but also mortifying as a photographer. Like, I'm sorry, I feel bad for you as the photographer who had to walk in on that because I'm just picturing and envisioning like you having your camera in your hand. It almost kind of goes with those funny moments. We all know them as photographers where they're awkward moments or they're maybe like sad moments that, do you capture it or do you not? Like, do you put your camera down or do you kind of like I can just see you walking in, just like sneaking a shot. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. See, I knew you guys were gonna have really, really good ones. These are good. Way, way better than I even honestly even thought. Okay. We listen and we don't judge. Once during a long cocktail hour, I left and got ice cream. Pregnancy cravings, LOL. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever left a wedding that I was at and to go get ice cream. I would never judge you for that. If you have the time, hey, and if your contract, I've never actually taken the break, but if your contract says you're contracted a break, you're contracted a break. And if you're going to go get ice cream for a pregnancy craving during cocktail hour when you have time, I will not judge you on that. But that is so funny. Get it, girl. Proud of you for doing that. Only if it was contracted, obviously, which I'm assuming it is if you are fessing up to it. Okay. I'm interrupting my own episode to give you a quick glimpse into my signature coaching program created for established photographers wanting to double to quadruple their prices, book their highest package, and bring in inquiries consistently. This is my high level container of go-to photographers who are making huge waves in the industry. And the biggest difference in this program is that we get a full 12 months together for deep dive transformation, weekly coaching call support, 4 coaches in the program to deep dive into specific topics, and a content retreat all included in one program. And I always say, if you can book one extra wedding from your year in the program together, you're going to see your ROI. And it's just the weekly norm wins for my students. So I'm fully confident that you're going to be able to do that and way, way more. And this is an application, phone call, and acceptance process only type of program. So if you are curious if this is the right next steps for you to just blow up your business this year, you can fill out the application at racheltraxler.com/apply or get the link in the show notes. I'll be in touch shortly after you fill it out so that we can talk through together if this is the right fit for you. I'm very honest with people and I want this to be a great fit for everyone involved. That's just my heart behind the way I do this process. And I also think that's why my students just see so much success in this program. So don't just be an information consumption overload this year. I want you to be an action taker and start implementing change into your business. So again, if this feels aligned to you, fill out the application at racheltraxler.com/apply to apply for my Passion to Profit coaching program. We listen and we don't judge. I will hit the flash at reception when I know I have plenty of drunk pics, so I fake it. I didn't even know what flash are you using. Is this a thing? I didn't even know that that was an option to do, and now I'm kicking myself for leaving with like 2,000 of my 4,000 photos taken on a day of just dance photos. Why did I not know this? And I use the Godox, I think that's how you say it, flash. I need to see if I'm sure that's a feature because I feel like a lot of people use that flash. I need to get on that because actually I think someone else said that too. Oh yeah. Another person said during the reception, if I've taken a million photos, I'll just hit my flash button. You guys, I didn't know the flash button was an option. Am I late to the party? Am I the only one that didn't know this? The more you know. The more you know. I might have to look into it. I do not judge you. You actually helped me today. And maybe other people, if I didn't know it, maybe someone else doesn't know it. That is a great one. Hey, see, you are walking away learning something from this episode. I told you you would. All right. Next one. We listen and we don't judge. I will pretend that I'm booked if it's a client that I don't want to work with. Hey, that's honestly like the polite way around it. I'm just curious because everyone probably has different ideas of why they wouldn't take a client on. So I'm almost just curious now because a couple people actually said this. Someone else's version was, oh, here it is. Sometimes I tell potential clients I'm booked if they're closed and I don't vibe with them. Honestly, though, like what else is the nicest way to tell people other than like you're booked, you're already booked. That's the easiest way. You're not hurting anyone's feelings. You're not, you don't have to come up with a reason and say, hey, I am available on your day, but I don't want to take it because X. Like, you don't have to say that. Like, just say you're already booked. It's the easiest way. Just say, or if you don't want to lie too, like, if you're not actually booked and you don't want to say you're booked and you're not, like, if you don't want to lie, like, there's ways around it because I don't like to lie to people. What I will say instead is just, I'm unavailable. Because, hey, it kind of goes along with like your free time and your available time are two different things. You might be free, but are you available? No. Like I blocked in rest time. I blocked in the state of not taking anything. So there's a big difference between being free and being available. And it's okay to just flat out say you're unavailable that day. No other reason. Like that's it. That's all you have to say. And that's fine. I think that that's fine. Because to be honest, if I ever say that, I'm really like, if you think about it too, you really are just serving that client because if you're just not a good fit in general, it goes two ways. If they're not a good fit for you, you might not be a good fit for them. You're serving them ultimately in the long run because you don't want to just trick people, I guess, and thinking like, oh yeah, you should book with me, even though I know you're not a good fit for me, you should still book with me. That also would be really unethical. So I also just think you're serving people and doing good by them by just telling them you're unavailable if you don't think they're a good fit. But I am curious what your guidelines on thinking people are not a good fit or not ideal clients are. I'm curious on that. That would be fun. That would almost be like the fun next. We listen and we don't judge. What are your reasonings? I would love to hear. All right. We listen and we don't judge. I don't do shoots for family or friends. You know, you're not the first one I've heard this. And honestly, I see why. I totally see why. I don't know about you guys. For some reason, when I do sessions for family or friends or just people I know, I just don't feel like it's as good of an experience. And I don't know if it's because our communication boundaries are different. I don't necessarily always put them into like the client experience funnel that I put into people that I don't know. I don't know if they feel like they can say certain things, do certain things at the sessions, before the sessions, after. There's just lines and boundaries get blurred together with family and friends. So I totally understand it. But I will say one thing I really love doing is doing like little sessions for my friends or my family. I'd way rather just offer to do a free little mini session for family and friends versus have them pay. There's a couple people I can think of that are family and friends who just love supporting me and have supported me since day one. Like my cousin, she's amazing. When I first started, she believed in me so much that she's like, hey, listen, because back in the day, this is a whole other story, but I got my college house got broken into and my camera got stolen. So I had to like buy a new camera, all these things. My cousin eloped out in Montana and I think her wedding photographer was like Jordan Both or something. Like it was beautiful, stunning. But she had a reception back home and she goes, hey, listen, if you do our reception photos, I'll like give you the money to get you a new camera, or basically. And she has ever since, she has done family photo sessions with me like multiple times a year. And anytime that I do mini sessions or launch mini sessions, she is like the first one to sign up. And she has supported me from day one, has never asked for like anything. And she is just so supportive. Them, I love doing sessions for because they just have supported me. So give or take something like that. If you want to just do like little free sessions, I think that that's kind of fun. But I totally understand what you mean by like just not wanting to do them for family and friends. Like I can relate to that. So I get it. I definitely don't judge on that. We listen and we don't judge. I tell my clients the post looks good when it simply does not. Oh, well, but honestly, like, what are you going to tell them? Like, hey, this sucks. You guys look bad. Let's do this. Like, no, you're just going to say, I don't know about you guys, but if I tell people to do a pose or I had this idea in my head, sometimes it just doesn't flow with certain people or it just doesn't work. It just doesn't look as good or feel as natural. And that's okay. And so I'll just take like 2 pictures and be like, okay, cool, got what I needed. And then I just move on. I would never tell them like, yeah, you don't look good. Sometimes I've been like, yeah, this isn't working, but it's not you guys. It's just not working. Cause like sometimes I'll just be honest with them, but I never am like, yeah, you guys look horrible. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, you kind of have to. You kind of have to tell them they look good, even if they don't. Just simply move on. That is what being a professional is, ladies and gentlemen. That is good for you. That's perfect. We listen and we don't judge. I hardcore social media stalk inquiring couples, and if they seem weird, I say I'm busy with the little like monkey over the eyes emoji. That is, yeah, you know what? Now that I think of it, I ask for people's social media handle in my contact form, but I rarely look at their Instagram before I respond. Now that I really think about it, and I don't judge. I don't judge you if you do. Hey, like that's just part of your process. That's part of your workflow and just seeing if you're a good fit and seeing all those things. That is, I don't judge at all. It just got me thinking now that I read that. I'm like, I actually don't think it's very rare if I do. And then sometimes I do because like a lot of times they're private or they're blocked, not blocked, but private. I can't see. Or it's like, what am I also gathering from your social media that I didn't gather from your contact form? So I feel like I asked everything I need and I got everything I need. But you're definitely not the only one that does it. And I'm not saying that I haven't either. Of course I have and looked at people's social medias, but I usually do it after I at least respond to them. But you are not alone on that. I know that there's I know that there's plenty of people that do that. We listen and we don't judge. I preach work boundaries, but am up at night late editing. Aren't we all? Welcome to being an entrepreneur and being a photographer. That is so, don't feel bad about that. We are totally, I feel like we're all guilty of that, of saying, I know I have been, there's just been different like seasons in my life being like, yeah, here's the boundaries I have set for myself, but also, you know, I got to crack open the laptop after the kids go to sleep sometimes and, just to get caught up or whatever. But, we all say, like, I think it's better to set work life boundaries and then, like, accidentally break them sometimes than to not have any at all and then really break them. Because I feel like the more boundaries and work life boundaries that you set, the more your clients are going to respect you for that. And the more respectable you will seem as a business owner, that people will come to you and be like, hey, I know your office hours are this, or I know that you're busy with this. So just respond to me when you can. I know that you take the weekends off. So just respond to me, when you can. People appreciate that. Like they respect you a little bit more when you have them. So I would rather have you set the boundaries and have them and then break them sometimes if you have to. Just don't break them too much. Otherwise, you're breaking trust with yourself. Here I am giving you like advice, even though I've totally done it. But I would rather you do that. You're not alone on that. We've all done it. You might even be doing it right now as you listen to this episode. It's okay. We listen and we don't judge. Sometimes I pretend not to see guests when they're trying to get my attention for a photo. I'm assuming like wedding guests, like guests at a wedding. I suppose because yeah, like guests, like they'll come up to you and be like, "Hey, do you want to take so and so's photo?" But I'm thinking, really, the only time that happens to me is like at cocktail hour. And I feel like that's like what we're doing at cocktail hour anyways, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I like go up to like every single group of people, like clumps I see at cocktail hours or in general at receptions, whatever. If I see groups of people talking, I go up to them and it's like, hey, do you guys want a group photo? 9.9 out of 10 times they're all going to say, yeah, like here's someone else, like so and so, come in this photo, come get in this one, like hop in. People love it. And then what I sometimes do too, if I can tell it's like a fun group, I have them say like, okay, do something silly for the bride and groom, or like celebrate on the count of three, or like funny faces or something like that, that will get like fun photos too. So they're not just all like smiling ones. So then that way cocktail hour has a really good variation of like candid photos, group shots, group smiling ones, like funny group ones, far away details, close details. I low key like love cocktail hour. I always think it's so funny when photographers are like, yeah, cocktail hour photos aren't that important. Family photos aren't that important. I think they're very important because those are the candid moments, especially when people are like, yeah, I'm a documentary photographer. It's like, that's your time right there. Like no prompts, no talking to anyone. Like you're just like very minimal talking. Like you are just getting those photos. So I actually think cocktail hour and reception all that is like a really really good crucial time to get a ton of good photos. And those are the moments too that the bride and groom like don't even realize they're happening because they're seeing their guests for the first time. This is like the first time in their day they're like not thinking about taking photos. They're like, oh, all my guests are here and I'm not standing in front of them awkwardly at a ceremony. Like I'm actually talking to them and I'm actually seeing them. I'm hugging them. I haven't seen them in 6 months. I haven't talked to them in a while. Like that is the good time. So I actually love that. And I love when guests come up to me and ask me to take a photo. Unless it's like maybe you just mean it was like the same. I have had like the same annoying, like drunk groomsman or drunk person at a wedding, drunk uncle keep coming up to me being like, oh, take like just grabbing random people, like take a photo, take a photo. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I get it, sir, I get it. So that has happened to me, but I certainly don't judge because that is probably what you mean by that too. Yeah, because sometimes we all have those guests that come up to us and they don't know when to stop. So I totally understand what you're coming with, where you're coming from on that one. Okay, I'm gonna pick one last one. We listen and we don't judge. I am very picky about who I allow myself and my brand to be associated with, like the emoji of like covering the eyes. As you should be. Like you totally should. Like this is you and your brand and your name on it. And I just feel like the more established you get, yeah, you should be pickier and you should also be really careful about who you get associated with. And also, you don't owe anyone an apology if you don't want to be associated with them. Like you don't have to tell them. It's kind of like the if you don't want to book them kind of workaround of just saying you're unavailable or saying you're not taking collaborations at this time. You're not doing that type of thing. It's okay. And hey, I think you should be picky. So actually, I don't judge. I think that's a really good piece of advice that you should listen to, especially as you grow and get more established. I think that's awesome. Okay, I know I said last one, but really, really last one. I'm going to do this here. We listen and we don't judge. I refuse to do mini sessions. That's okay. A lot of people decide not to do mini sessions. And also, it just depends on what point you are in your business and like where you're at, what your goals are, what you want to do. There was a time there that I also did not do mini sessions. I didn't feel like it communicated the level of like premium, higher end like brand that I wanted to communicate with my brand. And then I went back to doing them again and I was able to kind of serve specific clients that I really do enjoy working with. I can see why it's not always fun like doing mini sessions, like it kind of comes with its own thing. But kind of a work around this, just kind of like a quick little piece of advice too. If you didn't want to do mini sessions because another one here, I know I said this is the last one, but I didn't do this one and someone else said, I think it was the same person said something about I think the pay what you can sessions scream desperate. And this is kind of the same person that had along with like the mini sessions. And so, yeah, if you don't want to do that and if you're trying to establish your brand to be like higher end, more premium, more luxury feel, what you could do is also just create a segment in your email list that have like mini session interest or like session interest and only promote your mini sessions to your email list of people who are interested because that's what I do a lot of the times. Like you'll notice every now and then I will say like, hey, I'm going to offer mini sessions, like sign up here, or like DM me this, or like this story, and then I'll add you to the email list or whatever, because then I only promote my mini sessions on my email list to that segmented part of people who are interested in mini sessions. And honestly, that's how I fill my mini sessions. I rarely go to social media to say like, here's my time slots, here's what I have available, because they fill up from the people in my email list, because that's where I want them. So then double win. I can do my mini sessions and have a quick like cash injection, because let's be real, mini sessions are easy. And I actually like doing them because they are easy. They're easy peasy back to back sessions. I know there's certain clients who really love them. That's all they need. And they're always going to book with me. So like, why not? I'm leaving money on the table. It's easy for me. And so if I didn't want to promote that with my brand, but I know I wanted to offer it, that's like a really good workaround of just promoting it and launching it to your email list without having to like talk about it and promote it on social media. But that's just like a little side note tangent about mini sessions and wanting to do that. But I do not judge you for not wanting to do it. That's totally okay. There was a time that I also didn't do it. So no judgment there. But yay, you guys, that was fun. I love this little like conversational episode with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you liked it. And if you're not, maybe go and watch it on YouTube too, because I filmed a little YouTube video on it. And I would love if you go over there and subscribe to my YouTube channel so we can have some fun over there too. But thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. I appreciate you so much. And as always, keep shining, and we'll see you next time.